Did Mitch Trubisky take a thinly veiled swipe at offensive coordinator Matt Canada during his post-match press conference? Hello Steeler Nation, and welcome to your latest episode of your Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate with me, your host, Britsburgh, Owen. Guys, thank you so much for your support and your views for the previous video by my good friend Steelers Nation Australia, Mark Davison. We thank you. And all you new subscribers, we welcome you to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Guys, if you've not yet done it, hit that sub, ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the great content from the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Well, yesterday was an extremely depressing day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A very, very poor performance offensively against the New England Patriots. I'm not going to go condemn the defense in any way, shape, or form. Even though the pass rush didn't record a single sack and only recorded 3 QB hits, the defense still held the opposition to under 20 points, which is what you always look for your NFL defense to do, is hold the opposition under 20 points. That's the thing you need to do. So I'm not going to blame the defense in the slightest. In fact, defensive stars like Cam Hayward, Minka Fitzpatrick must be absolutely annoyed this morning at Mitch Trubisky and Matt Canada and the rest of the Steelers offense for their inability to score points. Now, Mitch Trubisky, speaking after the game against the New England Patriots, was asked a question about how to increase the amount of downfield passing and also the amount of passing over the middle. And it's during his answer to this question, it seemed like he took a thinly veiled swipe at Matt Canada without naming Canada in particular. This is what he had to say. This is what Brooke Pryor tweeted out. Question: what needs to happen to get more downfield passing over the middle passing in this offense? Trubisky, in part, just call concepts to get receivers there. And when the coverage dictates that, get them the ball within that. Let's just revisit that answer. Just call concepts to get receivers there. And when the coverage dictates that, get them the ball within that. Now, who calls the plays at the end of the day? I know that last year, obviously, Big Ben had a massive part to play in running the offense because of his vast experience, his Hall of Fame career. But who calls the plays? Who is the person to blame for calling the current plays that we are seeing going onto the field against the Cincinnati Bengals and against the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's right, Matt Canada. Now, is Trubisky, in fact, here saying in this quote that Canada is not calling those plays? He is not calling downfield passing plays. He is not calling passing over the middle. Despite the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers have 3 exceptionally dangerous wide receivers in Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and also George Pickens. In fact, the use of George Pickens has been criminal. I even saw a tweet this morning comparing the use of George Pickens to the use of James Washington, that when needed, he comes up with a play, but George Pickens is targeted very, very sparsely, just like Washington was during his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deontay Johnson, even yesterday, let his feelings out and let his frustrations out. This from my good friend Dejan Kovacevic. Deontay burst wide open behind everyone there, and Mitch just checked down just to check down. Deontay makes his displeasure visible, raising both arms towards the home sideline. So even the Steelers receiving corps are becoming very frustrated by this check down Charlie type of offense, this dink and dunk offense. A second year of dinking and dunking. Guys, one thing really does hit home to me now. Was Ben really the problem last year? Or was it, in fact, Matt Canada? Was Ben's lack of mobility the problem last year? Or was it, in fact, Matt Canada? Had Ben's arm gone? Or was it, in fact, Matt Canada? One thing for said, Ben had the courage and obviously had the experience that when he decided to, he could throw deep himself. He took that decision upon himself to do that because as a Hall of Fame quarterback with over 18 years experience in the NFL, you can do that. Mitch Trubisky has less experience and certainly less experience in the Pittsburgh Steelers system, so probably doesn't have the confidence to do that. Yes, I am not saying that it is solely down to Matt Canada. I do think that Mitch Trubisky does bear a massive part of the blame for this. Witness the comments by our fantastic Hall of Fame coach, Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher said Mitch Trubisky is more worried about making mistakes than he is about making plays. And that, I think, is very true. Mitch does panic an awful lot. But let's go back to that quote for a minute. He is saying, in effect, that concepts are not being called onto the field, that call on the Steelers offense to use downfield passing and passing over the middle. The concepts that are being called down onto the field are all for screen passes, check down passes, RPO options, short runs. It seems at the moment the Steelers' sole operation on the field is run, pass, pass, punt, run, pass, pass, punt, run, pass, pass, punt. Very boring, very predictable. And that's another thing. This offense is predictable. The defense knows what's going to come before the Steelers even call it. They know that they're going to run on first down more than likely. They know that they're then going to throw 2 short passes. What does that mean? Well, it means that the opposition defense then loads the box. It brings its defensive backs up. It doesn't need to drop its defensive backs back because it knows that no play is going to come onto the field that involves them throwing the ball deep. Therefore, they're not going to get beaten over the top. So therefore, they don't need to drop deep, loading the box, which means that being able to run the ball becomes virtually impossible because you've got a loaded line to run into. And even with the best even with even better run blocking than we're getting at the moment from the offensive line, you're not going to get anywhere because you're going to be going up against a sea of defenders. In addition, any short passes are going to be to the receiver catching the ball and having 2 and 3 men come to him straight away. And this is down to the calls that have been called onto the field. Yes, I know maybe Mitch Trubisky has tried to defer some of the blame for himself. We all do that, don't we? When we feel we're in the wrong, we try to blame someone else. And that's what Trubisky, I think, is doing. I'm of the opinion that it is very much 50-50. 50% Trubisky's fault, 50% Canada's fault. But if we look at Mitch Trubisky's passing chart here, look at the passing there. Look at it. Virtually nothing in that middle box there. Nothing at all, apart from the interception, where Mitch Trubisky was to blame for that because he did not see Mac Wilson in his passing alley. Why did he not see him? God only knows. And Trubisky's stats, as we can see there, 21 of 33, 168 yards, 1 TD is absolutely shocking. But if you look at the majority of those complete passes, where they are in relation to the line of scrimmage, the longest pass is at 22 yards, which was to George Pickens. The rest of them are under 20 yards. In fact, the majority of them are under 10 yards. If you look at that passing chart there, how many green dots are there between the line of scrimmage and the 10-yard mark? The Steelers' average pass depth was 8 yards. A first down is 10 yards. Not good enough. So we can see from that chart how the plays that are being called or what Trubisky is doing on the field are just not good enough. In addition to that, witness this stat, which is I took from Steelers Depot. Steelers Depot is a great site there for loads of information about your Pittsburgh Steelers. Through 2 games, the Steelers offense is averaging 4.3 yards per play. Last year, Pittsburgh averaged 4.8 yards per play. So half a yard worse than last year. And last year sure wasn't good. Well, doesn't that just tell a story? That the offense is making less yards per play this year with a mobile quarterback, with a supposedly better option at quarterback than having Ben last year? Was Ben to blame? That's the question. I don't think he was. I think the Matt Canada system is failing. It's predictable. It's boring. It shows no adventure. It seems to the only motion it has is, as my good friend Noah Strackbean said, people moving around for just no point whatsoever. Something's got to change, guys. Something has got to change before the Browns game on Thursday. If it doesn't, we're going to get beaten, and beaten badly, because the Browns can run the ball. Something's got to give, and whether that be a change at quarterback. And people say, well, what happens if Kenny fails? Well, then we know it's Canada's system 100%. But we go in with Trubisky in Canada again on Thursday to the Browns. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. It hasn't for the last year and a bit. And anyone believes that it's going to be a sudden change in style, a change in scheme between now and Thursday is living in cloud cuckoo land. Look at last season. What did you see last season? Check down, check down, check down. Run, run, pass, pass, run, pass, pass. 3 and out, 3 and out. What did you see yesterday? The exact same thing. Run, pass, pass, punt. Run, pass, pass, punt. 3 and out, 3 and out. And the defense getting tired. Who's to blame? Matt Canada is not up to the job. Well, guys, if you've enjoyed the content and you agree with me, or if you don't agree with me, hit that sub button. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you think of Matt Canada. Thanks for watching the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. We're back to speak to you at a later date. Guys, here we go, Steelers. Come on!